right, so we are live here at Oakland Community College. Hey everybody, BrendaMeller with Meller Marketing, and today you're joining us for How to Rock on LinkedIn in 2019 and beyond. I'm so excited to be here today. I've been an active user on LinkedIn since 2006. I've used it as a job seeker. I've used it as a working professional when I was overseeing marketing and being a brand ambassador for my company, and I'm now using it as an independent consultant as well. So I'm bringing all of that background in here in the room to share some insights with you all on LinkedIn. A couple things I want to point out here is that I do have the camera icon that's up in the upper left corner because I'm super active on social media. Completely fine if you guys want to take pictures of anything up here on the screen. If I appear in the pictures, I'm totally fine with that. So I like to mention that. So if there's something I'm showing you on my checklist or tips that you want to take a picture of so you can remember where that note is later, feel free to as we do that as we're going throughout. All right, so you saw probably in the program a little description of the session. That's what brought you here in the room. And what I want to focus on are today we want to talk about profile building techniques to help you optimize your LinkedIn presence. And quick show of hands, how many people in the room are on LinkedIn right now? Meaning you have a LinkedIn account, okay? Looks like just about everybody. There's a couple people that don't, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background, what is LinkedIn and why you want to use it. And for the people that are on LinkedIn, I often find people have LinkedIn accounts, but they don't really know how to use them and how to use them effectively. So I'm going to give you some techniques there here today. And part of that starts with looking at optimizing your LinkedIn profile. I'll talk about 5 ways to develop and expand your personal brand using LinkedIn. And then I'll finish off with using LinkedIn to network your way to find a new job. Since we're here at Career Empowerment Day at Oakland Community College, it's a really great event to look at different career paths, degree programs, and then using LinkedIn. And I think you guys know here too, but they're doing free headshot photos downstairs here today. So I would strongly encourage you, it's free. The price is right. Go downstairs, get a headshot photo, and consider uploading that into your LinkedIn account, okay? So a little bit of basics to get started. You probably know that LinkedIn is the largest professional networking site that's out there. It's different than all the other social networking sites because the focus here is on everything related to your industry, your career, jobs. It's actually used more by working professionals for online branding and for business networking than it is used by people for job search. So it's not just a job search network, it's a professional network, okay? Right now, they are up to 610 million members on LinkedIn. Every country from across the globe, up to 200 countries right now, and the people that you connect with on LinkedIn are referred to as connections, whereas on Facebook we call them friends, and Twitter and Instagram we call them followers. On LinkedIn we refer to those individuals as connections. And it's professional, so everything related to your profession, your career, your industry should be included. Things that aren't don't have a place on LinkedIn. So one thing, like I don't put my birth date on my LinkedIn. Even though they have a field for month and year, I don't put my birth date on LinkedIn. I don't need people to be wishing me a happy birthday. If I'm friends with you on Facebook, you can wish me a happy birthday there, right? I also don't put my marital status, my home address, anything that might be controversial, religion, politics, those types of things. This is a professional networking site. I try to keep things related to my career. And then for those of you who are in career transition, I would strongly recommend you not post your resume onto your LinkedIn account. The reason being, I want to know which employer has access to my resume. There may be positions that somebody gets my resume for that I don't want to apply to, right? And then also think about what information you have on your resume. You might have your home address, which you don't want to have everybody have access to, okay? So I would strongly recommend not posting your resume on your LinkedIn. You certainly can use some of that information as you fill out your profile, but don't upload it as a document on there. All right, and then some things to keep in mind with regards to LinkedIn, and as we talk later about posting status update and how often you should be on LinkedIn and how much time, keep these things in mind. First, of the 610 million members on LinkedIn, less than half of those people are active on a monthly basis. It's almost like when you're reading the Wall Street Journal or a paper, you kind of look at the news, you get in, you get out, and then you put it to the side. So you don't hang out on LinkedIn, right? And some people only go on LinkedIn when they have a need for it, whether that's career or business development or other needs that they have with regards to online networking. So they don't go on LinkedIn all the time. So you're trying to capture their attention when they do go out on there. 40% of the people, however, do log into LinkedIn on a daily basis. So there's the super active people or the people that don't go on there very much at all, right? The average user, when they combine all of these stats together, the average person spends about 17 minutes per month on LinkedIn. So it's not like on Facebook and Instagram where you can kill an hour and not even realize you're spending that time. LinkedIn, you're kind of in business mode. You go in, you get your business done, and then you leave the network. You don't hang out on LinkedIn, right? Do keep in mind as well that if you do have a profile photo on your LinkedIn account, you'll get 14 to 21 times more profile views than if you don't have a photo on your account. So that's why it's really important to get that photo taken while you're downstairs here today. All right, a little bit about my background. This is what I do for a living. I'm a lifelong marketer who kind of started a side hustle and then went off and I started Meller Marketing. One thing I do always like to mention is that I'm an introvert at heart. And I say that because there might be a person or two in the room that says, well, how are you an introvert? You're speaking in front of the room and you seem comfortable. Well, early on in my career, I realized that I'm always going to be an introvert, but I need to work on public speaking if I want to move up in my career. I joined Toastmasters as a public speaking organization. If anybody's heard of that phenomenal group, I got really good at public speaking by going through Toastmasters. So if you're an introvert, it's not a character flaw, it's just a trait we have, and there's groups like Toastmasters out there that can help you out, okay? My career is kind of centered around LinkedIn, helping individuals and businesses, and I always love to tell this, I love coffee, pie, and chocolate. Those are my loves in life, in addition to my job and my family, of course, but I love coffee, pie, and chocolate. So now what I start to do is when I go around and give presentations, I bring pies to give away with me. And pies is just kind of this fun thing. So completely optional, but what I'm going to do at the end of today's session, I'm going to draw a name. So if you have a business card you want to drop in here, if not, just put your name and your cell phone number, or if you're in the room, just put your name on here. And I'm going to draw one winner, and you can go home with what I've got here today is this lovely homemade cherry pie from Brenda. So double crust, and it's got like crystal sugar stuff on the top. It looks delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that around the room. Optional, but if you'd like to participate in that drawing, I'm going to do the first drawing after the session here today. Okay? So that's a little bit about me on LinkedIn. And then I want to start with kind of looking at your LinkedIn dashboard, because this is going to help you to assess your results of LinkedIn over time. So if you have your phone, go onto your LinkedIn profile right now. If you have your laptop in front of you, go ahead and go on your LinkedIn profile right now. What I want you to do is scroll down to the section of the profiles right underneath that top section, and you're going to see a gray box. The title of that section is Your Dashboard. And I want you to look at that section right now, okay? And you're going to notice this is private to you. Only you can see this. The world cannot see your LinkedIn dashboard. But again, you do want to be on your profile and then scroll down to the section. And you're going to notice, that there are 3 numbers on here. The very first number, this represents who's viewed your profile in the past 90 days, okay? We're going to show you the trend line here in just a second, but just be aware, this is who's viewed your profile. So this is a number that's going to tell us, are we getting profile views, okay? The second number, it says post views. And that number represents the last time you posted or shared something on LinkedIn, how many times it was viewed in your homepage feed. And this just gives you a quick snapshot of what things are working. You know, when you're posting things on LinkedIn, are they getting views? If you have 0 in here, it either means you haven't posted anything in a really long time or you've never posted something as a status update. So we'll kind of work on that today. And then the last number represents how many times you have appeared in search results on LinkedIn in the past week. Okay? And that just, as you're working on optimizing your profile, adding more status updates, engaging with people, you'll start to appear in some more search results. What I want you guys to do, though, right now is if you're looking at the dashboard, I want you to click on your number here, okay? And as you click on that number, you're going to see who's viewed your profile. This trend line should come up in there, okay? Are you guys seeing this? Who's viewed your profile when you click on that number?
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I don't know how to get that dashboard.
Are you on your profile?
Yes.
Okay, on your profile, and then right below your summary section at the top, you should see that gray box. You can look at that. But for now, for those people that can see the trend line, what I want you to do is just kind of imagine an imaginary trend line in your profile views over time. And what I like to look at is, are we keeping that number relatively flat or are we increasing it? And really focus on anything that's a peak, that goes above the trend line. Figuring out what did you do here that drove those profile views. Did you post a status update? Did you get a lot of engagement on something? Did you optimize your profile and that helped more people to be looking at your profile? But focus on those things where you have peaks. Look at, okay, this was around March 20th or so. So what did I do around March 20th that may have driven some profile views? So this helps you kind of assess your performance on LinkedIn and to drive more of those activities. Okay, I'm going to get maybe 1 or 2 volunteers here from the room because I'd like to know a little bit about you. So if you could just tell me your name, what are you hoping to learn here today, your dream job or your current job if you're in your dream job, and your favorite kind of pie. So could I get 1 or 2 volunteers to help me out? Yes, in the back of the room. Okay.
Should I stand up?
Sure, yeah, that'd be great.
So my name is Sidorbe,
Okay.
and my dream job actually to be a doctor or
Doctor.
a pharmacist.
Great, okay.
And my favorite pie is chocolate pie or berry pie.
Very good. Okay, very good.
Yeah, I'm hoping to learn more about how to make connections.
Okay. How to
And
make some.
connections.
Okay.
And to know how to find a job actually.
Okay.
To learn more.
Great. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for coming here today. One other volunteer. Somebody else? There you go. Yes. Okay.
Hi, my name is Hiba. Now I'm pursuing to do dietitian, so actually medical field dietitian.
Okay.
And my favorite pie maybe apple pie.
Apple pie's a great pie. Very good. Okay.
And I'm here also to do more about network and connections. I have no idea. I've never had any experience with jobs, just to
Okay.
get more ideas about how to apply.
Okay.
What's
Very good.
what I can do in the future.
Okay, how you can use it. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today. All right, great job. Okay, very good. Well, we'll keep kind of going here, and then if you guys have questions throughout, let me know. I think we're supposed to end here around 5. We might go a couple minutes after. I think the next session starts at 5:15. So if that's okay, I'll let you guys kind of go with the questions here. So keep in mind, as you're working on LinkedIn, if you're working for an employer, you may want to check and just say, hey, do we have a policy with regards to how should we be using LinkedIn? Just kind of check and know what you should be posting or not be posting. They should have some guidelines there. LinkedIn is continually evolving and changing, and my view might look a little different than your view. I'm a pretty advanced user on LinkedIn. I do have premium, but all the features I'm showing you here today are using the free version of LinkedIn. So do keep in mind my view might look a little different than yours. Everyone has a different comfort level. I'm pretty open when it comes to sharing things on LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn every day. You might be a little bit more reserved there. That's okay. Kind of figure that out for yourself. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. I don't have 48 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day. You have 24 hours in a day. So if it's important for you, you will figure out a way to find 15 minutes a day that you can spend on LinkedIn. And I think that's all you really need to spend is 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. You don't need to spend hours, 15 minutes a day at minimum, okay? And then as you're working on your LinkedIn, feel free to visit my profile as often as you'd like. I'm never going to say, gosh, Hiba keeps looking at my profile. She's stalking me on LinkedIn. No, I'm actually flattered when people are looking at my profile because I know that they're working on building their own profile, and it's very flattering to me. I'm like, oh, great, they were following my homework. They're looking at my profile. And keep in mind, on LinkedIn, it's called research. It's not stalking. When you're looking at people's profiles, they want you to look at their profiles on LinkedIn. That's a good thing. Okay, so do keep that in mind. Look at it as often as you'd like. So we're going to start with optimizing your profile on LinkedIn. I'm going to give you a checklist to go through here. But as we're working on our profiles, I want you to keep in mind that the desktop view looks different than the mobile view. And there's some important features for you to keep in mind as you're building out your profile. Okay? First, you're going to notice the position of your headshot photo. In the desktop, it's on the left side of the page. Okay? When you're on your mobile phone, on the app, your photo's in the middle. So keep that in mind, because if you have a header image in the background, which I highly recommend you put a header image in there, you want to make sure it's not covering anything in the middle, whether that's your company logo or an important part of the picture or whatnot. Okay?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think not posting any picture will lower the
Remember earlier I said if you post
Yeah.
a picture, you'll get 14 to 21 times more profile views on your LinkedIn. So there are a lot of articles and statistics that will say if you put a profile photo, you're more likely to get your profile viewed. And there are many people that will not accept LinkedIn invitations if they don't see a photo.
Okay.
So you got to figure out, what works for you and what works best. But I would say you'll get more profile views if you have them. Okay. Do keep in mind too, on desktop, it's pretty easy for us to see your contact information. So if I want to do business with you, if I want to hire you for a job or ask you about an interview, I can click on see contact information and get that pretty easily on desktop. On mobile, you don't see that button up here anywhere. So you have to actually scroll all the way down to the bottom of the profile. You have to know it's down there and then find the person's email address, right? And keep in mind, when I said earlier, only about half of people go on LinkedIn monthly or more. Okay, so they might say, well, I'm not going to just message her because I don't know when she's going to be on LinkedIn. I actually want to email this person, right? So what I like to do is I actually like to put my email address right in my summary. make it super, super easy for them so they don't have to dig around, figure out how to get a hold of me. I'm going to put it right in the summary there. Okay? And then as you're building out your profile, I always build it in the desktop, and then I look at it on the phone. So I want to see how's my picture look, how's the header image, how's my summary reading, all that good stuff. Okay? You're going to notice also in both the desktop and in the mobile view, your summary statement, it's 3 lines. 3 lines here, 3 lines here. But it's longer here. There's more words and phrases that show in the desktop view. It's shorter on mobile. So you want to make sure when you're writing your summary statement that you keep in mind the very first sentence is the most important sentence. The first 10 to 12 words are going to be the only things they can see when they're on mobile. Okay? So keep that in mind as we're going through this profile checklist. And these are going to be the areas that we go through. Again, you'll have, if you want to copy these slides, just message me on LinkedIn. I'll send you a link where you can print off a PDF copy of them. Or you can watch the playback of the video and you can refer back to these areas again later. Okay? So let's start with the profile optimization checklist. I'm going to start with photographs at the top of your account. You have 2 areas for photos. You have your headshot photo and you have this header image behind you. What I look for in your headshot photo: pleasant, smiling, professional. I can see your face. So what I like to see is that from the top of your forehead to the bottom of your chin, that's about 50 to 60% of the circle. Okay? If you're a little bit further back, it's harder for us to see you on mobile. You look less impressive, less important. When it's zoomed in a little bit closer, you look more personable, you look more important. It's easier for us to see your face when you're on mobile. You can edit this right now. If you're in your mobile phone, you can click on the little pencil icon. You can actually zoom it in. You don't have to use a fancy cropping tool or anything, but I like zooming that in a little bit if you can. So that's your headshot photo. I don't like to see selfies, unprofessional pictures, ball caps, things like that, sunglasses that are blocking your face. If you can get downstairs to get a headshot photo today, get a headshot photo, and that could be one of the photos that you use on your account. Okay? And then I look for this background image over here. This is another image that you can put on your LinkedIn profile. Many people have the default, which is the teal blue, the dots and lines that are interconnected. What I like to see is some type of an image that aligns with your industry, your career, or your personal brand. So you certainly could use just a landscape photo, mountains, trees, something like that. But even better would be to be something that aligns with your brand. Now I use something with my brand colors that kind of, if you go to my website, I have a similar scheme out there. And then I also always put a marketing tip or a LinkedIn tip in there. And I use an external site to create that. Okay? And then I look for underneath your name field, you have this area right here. This is called your headline field. Now by default, LinkedIn will put job title at company for your most recent employer. Okay? I would recommend you modify that to make it a little bit more descriptive of who you are as a person and a little bit more appealing for that person that might be landing on your profile. It does not need to match your job title, but you do want to think about what are the keywords and phrases that you want to be found for on LinkedIn. If I'm looking for a job, I would use keywords for my targeted job titles. So if I was looking for a marketing job, I might say Director of Marketing, Marketing Manager, VP of Marketing. So I'm trying to find people that are looking for people who have marketing leadership experience. That's what I'm using that headline field for. And do keep in mind that your headline is what people see when they're searching on LinkedIn and they look at the search results. Okay, so it's really important there, trying to capture their attention. Connections, there's not a magical number. I like to look for profiles. If I'm landing on your profile, you have less than 10 connections. I don't know if you're active or not on LinkedIn. If I see that you have 0 connections or 1 connection, I may be less apt to accept that because it looks like it's an inactive LinkedIn account. Okay, so always be building your connections there. I like to see a little bit more than 10 as I'm landing on profiles. And then summary section on LinkedIn, you have up to 2,000 characters here to tell us your story. I like to see this written in the first person. So this is not the same thing you would have at the top of your resume. Your resume is third person, right? Your LinkedIn summary would be the first person. So you use I, me, you're telling us your story. So think about, and even feel free to look at my summary as you're working on your own. Think about, how do you describe yourself to people? What are your career aspirations? Why do you want to work in that field, right? If you're struggling with, how do I write my summary statement? How do I describe myself? Think about when you meet people, what do you tell them about yourself? What do you tell them about your career? What do you tell them about why you're in the field that you're in, or why you want to move into this future position? Why are you going to Oakland Community College? What are you pursuing here? What are you hoping to do afterwards, okay? And important here, as I said earlier, you only see 3 lines. Most people are not going to click to expand this and read it out. Most people will not. Some people will. The right people will. So that's why I use the most of those 2,000 characters to tell my story. Okay? So again, feel free to look at my profile. You're going to see I use multiple paragraphs, page breaks, section, all caps for some of my section headings in there, some keywords and a specialties list, and I even put some little inspirational statements at the bottom of my profile show, okay? Tell a little bit of my story. Scrolling down, I'm next going to look at your experience section on LinkedIn, and what I'd love to see in the experience section is for each of your employers, start with a description of the company, maybe 1 to 2 sentences describing what the company is. We may not know what your company is, what industry you're in, and who you serve, right? So let's start with a description of that. Then I might list products and services that your company offers, okay? Then follow that with a description of your role and maybe some key achievements of your position. That might be something you pull from your resume and put that in there, okay? And then further down, you're going to see I have a list of specialties, and this is just a running keyword list. These are the things that I specialize in or skills that I've gained as a result of that job. I don't write this for you as a human being to read. I don't mind if you read it, but I'm writing this because I want to come up in search results for those keywords, okay? So consider putting that specialties both in your summary at the top, and then also look at adding a specialties list in each of your experience sections, okay? That will help you come up in search results. Redundancy works in your favor. If I want to be found for LinkedIn coaching, LinkedIn training, I have to use those keywords several places throughout my profile. Did you have a question?
Yes. So should we use the hashtag sign?
You don't need to necessarily use hashtag. I have seen some fellow LinkedIn trainers and coaches starting to use it, but I feel like on the whole, hashtags are gaining traction on LinkedIn, but the average person I'm working with, the average group, their question is, what's a hashtag?
Yeah.
You know, so, maybe if it's relevant for your industry, I wouldn't use the hashtags. In the summary section, these really aren't clickable. This is just flat text. So the point of using a hashtag is somebody can click on it and find it, right? So it kind of defeats the purpose.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so
Good
much.
question, though. All right. And make sure that in your summary section, when you're listing your employers, that this is linked to your company's employer page on LinkedIn. If I see that gray building avatar, that means either your company doesn't have a company page yet on LinkedIn, or it's not properly linked. And then it makes me question, does she really work there? Or is that just something she made up, right? And when I see a logo next to it, it kind of legitimizes, oh yes, that person actually does work there. And I know that when I click on that logo, I can actually go to your company page and learn more about your organization, okay? So it's a nice way to be a positive brand ambassador for your company, okay? 2 company pages I'm going to call attention to right now. First, I have a company page for Meller Marketing. I will frequently share marketing tips, social media, LinkedIn tips, etc. So look up Meller Marketing on LinkedIn, give my page a follow, and you can start to see some of that information, okay? And then the second page I want to call attention to is Oakland Community College does have a company page as well. So I would highly recommend you go on their page on LinkedIn, click on that follow button, and then just kind of see what they've been posting lately on LinkedIn. And maybe find a post that's recent on their page, and you could like it, or you could add a comment, but somehow, help to kind of just interact with some of their postings that they're doing out there. The folks at OCC will be really happy that you're doing that. Makes you look like a great student representative here of the organization. And then, here's something that's kind of brilliant, guys. If you like or comment on one of these posts, look and see who else is liking or commenting on that post. And then I might reach out to that person and I might say, hey, we haven't met, but I see that we both interacted recently about an event at OCC. I'm at a Career Empowerment Day today. It looks like you're there too. Let's connect on LinkedIn. So I'm kind of creating a basis for connecting with new people by interacting with their content. Okay, so Meller Marketing and Oakland Community College, those are 2 pages I would recommend. All right, scrolling past the experience section, we're going to go to the next section of our LinkedIn profile. It's titled Skills and Endorsements, okay? So in this section, LinkedIn gives you the ability to list up to 50 skills on your profile, okay? What's more important than listing all 50 is what are the top 3. So look at your profile if you have it on your phone or your desktop in front of you. I want you to look at what are the top 3 skills that are listed on your LinkedIn profile right now. Are those the skills that you want to be known for? If you say that you're an accountant, am I seeing accounting, CPA, financial statement analysis in the top 3 skills, right? If I see Excel and public speaking and marketing and you say you're an accountant, I'm like, I kind of question that, right? So you can list up to 50. I like to use every space that LinkedIn gives me because that helps me to come up in profile searches on LinkedIn. But what's most important is what are the top 3? What are you seeing that are listed as the top 3? And I always like to say, people are lazy. I don't really think people are lazy, but this will help you to remember this. People are lazy, guys. They're not going to click on show more. The average person's not. They're just not. They're going to see the 3, and they're going to make a judgment call about you, and then they're going to move on. Okay? I'm trying to position you so that the right people are looking at your profile and that you're showcasing your strengths and your skills, okay? If you don't see the top 3 that you want to be known for in the top 3, you can actually click on this little pencil icon, and the 3 that are on here are going to be pinned, and you can actually unpin them, and then you can put other things in their place. And you can even reorganize those, right? So I recently added social selling as a skill on my LinkedIn profile. And when you first put it up here, you're going to have no endorsements. Nobody's clicking to endorse you because it's new, right? But over time, I've started to grow some endorsements on social selling on there, okay? So focus on that. That does help you to come up in search results on LinkedIn. Try to use all 50, and if you're struggling with, I can't think of any other skills, look up other people who hold your targeted job title or your current job title, and you can inevitably find some more skills from them that you could add into your profile, okay? So try to use all 50 there. All right, we're going to move now into 5 ways to build and develop your personal brand on LinkedIn. And I'm going to start with a discussion kind of introducing the concept of personalizing every invitation you send on LinkedIn. Has anybody seen this meme floating around? So this gentleman is from the Princess Bride movie, I think, is that right? So he says, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die." And it's going to help you to remember what are those common elements that you should include in every LinkedIn invitation. He has a polite greeting, he gives his name, he includes a relevant personal link, and he's managing the expectations. Really, he's making it all about them. And that's what I want you guys to do when you're sending out invitations to connect. Now, I don't want you to threaten to kill people in your LinkedIn invitations, but I do want you to make it all about them, and I do want you to personalize every invitation that you send out on LinkedIn. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now, and you can do this on either your desktop or your mobile, if you're not yet connected with me, I want you to search for my name in the search field right now. Brenda Meller, M-E-L-L-E-R, okay? And then when it pops up search results, don't click on the connect button here. Don't click on, if you're mobile, don't click on the connect button here. What I want you to do instead is click on my name to go on my profile, okay? You know you're on my profile, whether it's desktop or mobile, you know you're on my profile when you can see that header image that's behind me here, okay? So folks that are on your desktop or laptop, follow along with me first. The mobile users I'm going to show you guys next. So don't hit the button yet. If you're on the desktop view, you should either see a connect button, or on mine you might see follow. If you see follow, I want you to click on the more drop down. And that's going to pull up a menu of options, one of which is personalized invite. I want you to click on personalized invite. And then you're going to get a message box that comes up that says you can customize this invitation. I want you to do this from this moment forward on every single invitation you send. Click on add a note. And then remember Inigo Montoya's example, I want you to follow that same type of formula in your personalized message. Hi, first name, have you met or not? And if you haven't met, you kind of want to say what you have in common, maybe comment on a couple things that you see on their profile that are interesting to you. And then say, let's connect on LinkedIn, your name. So for all of you here today, it might be, hi Brenda, we met today at OCC's Career Empowerment Day. Great job on your presentation, let's connect on LinkedIn, or something like that, right? So that's how you do it in the desktop view. Now I'm going to show you the mobile view. So if you're on your phone, you're on my profile, what I want you to do not click on the connect button. Instead, what I want you to do is click on the more button over here, okay? When you click on the more button, you're going to see a menu of options, one of which is personalized invite. And when you click on personalized invite, now you have the option to add in a personalized note. Okay? So from this moment forward, as you're sending out invitations, I want you to personalize every invitation you've sent. Use that formula, hi, first name, have we met or not, something from their profile that you have in common or that's interesting to you, and then send them that invitation. Now for job seekers, if you're using this to try to make connections to help pull your way in through a job, what I would say is still make the invitation all about them. Don't reference the job that you're applying for. Don't say that you see that you work at that company and you're applying for a job. Don't do any of that in your invitation. The invitation is all about them. After they accept the invitation, now you have the ability to message them. And then you could say, hi John, thanks for accepting my invitation. I see you work at ABC company and there's a couple career openings there right now. Would you be willing to chat about what the culture is like there and what's the interviewing process? Now you've got John, you've got a direct line of communication with him, right? And he's already accepted your invitation, so you have a higher likelihood that he'll respond to that, okay? As opposed to if I sent that in the invitation and I said, hey John, I'm applying for a job, can I send my resume to you? John's like, well hold up here, I don't even know who this person is, why is she sending me her resume? They're gonna be less likely to accept those invitations to help you guys out. All right, a quick discussion here about invitations that we receive on LinkedIn from people we don't know. What do you guys do with those invitations from people you don't know?
Delete.
Delete? Ignore them? Anybody else do anything different?
Read about it if you can. I don't just read about their profile.
Look at their profile.
Yeah.
This is a very good point, kind of see what you're seeing on there. So I'm going to show you guys a technique. What I do is I like to screen every person in, because everybody who sends me an invitation, I never know where that connection may lead. They could be my next client. They could have a referral opportunity for somebody in my network. I don't know, because I'm not having any conversation with them. So what I do, and if you have the desktop, you can follow along. On mobile, you can't do this, but on desktop, you click on My Network, and then when you click on My Network, you're going to see a little link here that says Manage All. Okay, when you click on Manage All, then it takes us to the next page, and we're going to see underneath each of our pending invitations, we now have a button here that says Message. So now what I can do is I can send them a message before deciding whether or not I want to accept. My goal here is just to get some conversation going back and forth. I want to accept every invitation that comes through, but I want to get us talking first. So my short version, I'll say, "Hi, Brendan, thanks for the LinkedIn invitation. Have we met? BrendaMeller." Now, I know we haven't met. Brendan knows we haven't met, but I'm trying to get Brendan to respond back and say, "Yes, we met at OCC's Career Empowerment Day," or "Yes, we met at the Troy Chambers Networking event," or something. Or Brendan might say, "No, we haven't met, but LinkedIn suggested your profile to me. I saw a status update where you were tagged. We had common connections." Whatever it is, I don't care. Now I've got Brendan talking to me. So I've broken myself apart from the clutter. I've got us talking, and then depending on his response, I've got a way for us to continue that conversation. Yes?
I got a situation. A short time ago, I accepted this invitation, and the guy, he was just flirting with me by message.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
after that, I said, okay, if we don't have connection in common,
Right.
I'm not gonna accept because sometimes we.
I
say
completely
things
hear you
like
there.
that.
So I actually talked to LinkedIn about this a while back, and I said, what do we do with the creepy guys who think this is eHarmony and this is not a professional network? I said, what do we do with these people? Right? Because if we don't say anything, it's kind of like saying it's okay. Right? And we let them continue to do these things in the background. And, there's not a lot of people that do this, so I don't want to kind of categorize. But we do need to kind of put a stop to this, right? So what LinkedIn says is if you report them, there's a button that you can report and you can block them. When you report them to LinkedIn, LinkedIn will look into the matter. You'll see the messaging that's back and forth. And if they see they're using LinkedIn inappropriately, unprofessionally, they will block them from LinkedIn.
Okay.
So they will actually remove their account, wipe their whole account out. Now, it doesn't prevent them from starting a new account. John Q. Smith or some other alias, but it does have them start over from scratch. So I would say definitely address it. Sometimes I get those, and it's borderline. They might say, "You have a pretty smile." And then I'll read it. My husband works for OCC, so I'll read it and I'll say, does that seem weird to you? Like, that seems a little inappropriate for a professional networking site. And I always think, if we were standing next to each other and my husband were standing right next to me, would he say, "You have a pretty smile"? Probably not, right? So that's my litmus test. Would he say it if my husband was standing next to me? That's where I kind of draw the line. Would he say it to a man? Would he tell a man he has a pretty smile? No, he wouldn't, right? So sometimes we can use these as teachable moments, and we can say, "Hey, John, thanks for the compliment. This is a professional networking site. I'm sure you didn't mean anything by it, but that made me feel a bit uncomfortable." Or, probably not appropriate. I don't know. Is it our job as women to train these, people who don't get it at this point in their life? But I would say, certainly, I think, reporting them if they've crossed the line is a good practice to take. Yeah, unfortunately.
But they give you that area to hit ignore.
Yes,
And
yep.
that's where it will come up and say, "I don't know this person."
Yes, yes.
Because I get a lot of people from out of the country.
Yeah,
trying to
and
connect.
there's a lot of people, I connect with people from across the world all the time. I connect with somebody from Ireland this morning, Australia last week, India, different countries. You never know. Really it depends on how you're using LinkedIn. Are you really focusing just on the local geographic area here? You could let people know, I only connect with people from inside Michigan, inside the United States. You can just ignore them and not even address it. But there are great people from all around the world to connect with, and I look at it as the more people I connect to, the more people that see my status updates, the larger my network can be. That's a personal philosophy. You have to figure out for you what works best for you. Okay. All right. Good
But is
question.
it a way for you? Is it a way for them to get like in connection with all of your connections if they link with you?
Possibly,
Correct?
because if you're showing your connections list, which is the default, they can see who you're connected with. Possibly. Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. So we're going to talk next about maximizing your visibility on LinkedIn. We're going to finish this list and then we're going to go into jobs here in a section. So if you're in your desktop view, when you're looking at this playback a little bit later on, I want you to click on Edit Public Profile and URL. And then when you're in that area, the first thing I want you to do is look at your LinkedIn URL. If you're noticing at the bottom, or rather at the end of your name field, that it says BrendaMeller, CXQ3Y10227, some gobbledygook, go in there with the pencil icon and delete out that gobbledygook. What I like to see is just first name and last name. So now you have a simplified URL. That's something you can put on your business card, you can put on your resume. It's easier for people to look you up on LinkedIn. It's been cleaned up a little bit. The other thing I like to look for is, I like to say blue shows us you. So let's look at all of these buttons that are in here. Make sure that you have it set to public visibility so that anybody can see your information on LinkedIn, regardless if you're connected yet or not. Under your profile photo, I like to see that it's set to public, so anybody can see my photo on LinkedIn, whether we're connected or not. And then for all of these other areas, these represent the areas you filled out on your profile. Make sure they're toggled open to blue. Otherwise, if the summary is shut off, the person can't see your summary unless you're connected to them, which kind of defeats the purpose, right, of building out your LinkedIn
Where are
profile.
you finding that?
So this is in the desktop. You're on your profile, and then you want to click on Edit Public Profile and URL in the upper right-hand corner. Thank you for helping.
Thank you.
Of course.
Very good. Thank you.
Come on.
Okay. So moving on here, I want to talk now about status updates on LinkedIn. So how many people that are on LinkedIn are posting status updates on LinkedIn? Are you sharing any news information? Anybody doing that yet? So what I'd like you to do, on the mobile, you can either click on the home button or the LinkedIn in symbol. Either one of these will take you back to the LinkedIn homepage. And then at the very top, you should see a little box that says Start a Post. This is where you would post a status update on LinkedIn. And what I would encourage you to do, remember earlier I said I'm fine if you guys want to take pictures. Take a picture of me presenting. Take a picture of one of the slides here today. And you can share that photo as a status update on LinkedIn. And when you're out at conferences and events, keep in mind that people that are public speakers, that are presenters, we have large networks. So if you tag us on LinkedIn, it broadcasts out to our homepage feeds. So you're getting the benefit of our large network seeing your post. When and if you tag me on LinkedIn, I will comment back and I will encourage people to visit your profile and connect with you on LinkedIn. So I'm going to give you a little bit of jump start in that. But I would encourage you, update your status today. And even if you don't want to tag me and put a picture, put something. And you could say, today I'm attending Oakland Community College's Career Empowerment Day as I start to look for my next position or whatever. Tell people what you're working on. Tell people why you're attending the event here. Okay? And you can do this on desktop or mobile. On mobile, it's going to say like share an article, photo, video, or idea. Okay? If you struggle with what do I share as a status updates, here's a couple of examples of things you could share. You could share when you're attending events, conferences, workshops. You can share industry news items. So when you're starting to read articles, whether it's the Cranes Detroit Business or Forbes Magazine or Entrepreneur, all of these online sites nowadays have that click to share, where you can share it on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. So think about me on your shoulder going, you should share that on LinkedIn. Like think about sharing those articles. And then when you share them, give a little one-sentence preview or say, I'm reading this article that talks about artificial intelligence in videos or whatever it is. Kind of tell people what the article's about. Okay? And there's a lot of other items on the list. Inspirational messages work really well on LinkedIn. So whether it's a Stephen Covey or your own mantra or things like that, those really speak to your target audience, and those do really well as status updates. I'm going to share a technique with you now which talks about a status update technique, and I guarantee if you use this technique, you'll never post the same way ever again. So NEVA is an acronym that I use that will help you to remember this technique of posting a status update. The N stands for news or information. Why do they care? What are you sharing on LinkedIn and why does your audience care? You're hoping to educate or inform them, right? The E stands for engage. So I want you to engage by tagging people and or organizations. You want to be talking at somebody and kind of using that at symbol. The V stands for a visual. So the visual could be a photograph, it could be a video, it could be a website link that has a picture as part of it or an infographic, but some type of a visual element that goes along with it. And the A is a call to action. What do you want them to do as a result of reading that post? So I'm going to show you a technique here. This is just an example of one of my posts I do. I do this every Friday. I do a Friday Shout series, and I tag somebody in my network. A couple months back when my husband first started at Oakland Community College, I shared him in my Friday shout. So the news is today's Friday shout is Chris, who started a new position at Oakland Community College. So that was the news, the N. The engage, I tagged Chris, and I tagged Oakland Community College in the post. That way Chris got a notification in his LinkedIn, and Oakland Community College got a notification in LinkedIn. The V is a visual, and I just did a simple screen capture of Chris's profile at LinkedIn. And this was at the time. He has a little bit of a different header image in the background now, but I just did a quick screen capture of his profile on LinkedIn. And then the A, the call to action, what I told people is connect with Chris here on LinkedIn, and I gave them Chris's URL where they could connect with him. Okay? And this post, got a couple thousand views, and I think, where's the stats in here? 45 likes and 8 comments on here. So we got some really nice engagement from that post by following that NEVA technique. Okay? So something to think about when you're posting status updates. And then to kind of close off the session before we go into jobs, I just want to talk about the whole concept of building social media karma. If you follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn, you're going to see that I often, and most of the time, I'm talking about other people. I'm tagging other people, I'm commenting on their posts. I like to pay it forward with absolutely no expectation that I'm ever going to be repaid, but I know that I will. Because when you help other people, they want to return that favor to you. So comments, give comments to people when they're posting on LinkedIn. You could easily just spend 15 minutes a day on the homepage feed on LinkedIn, scrolling through and seeing what people are talking about, maybe liking a couple things, but then add comments, and when you add a comment, try to focus on 5 or more words. So don't just say great article, say this was a great article, thanks for sharing, 8 words, something like that. So focus on 5 or more words. That helps the algorithm to say this is a popular post, people are talking about it, it's going to keep it in the homepage feed a little bit longer. So that helps the person when you're doing that 5 or more words. When people comment on your posts, comment back because they've given you a gift and you want to send a thank you note to them. So you want to say, thank you, Philip, for responding to my post, hope you and the family are doing well, or see you at work next week, or whatever. 5 or more words in my response back to them. Give recommendations. If you have somebody that you work with that's a superstar in their job, whether it's a boss, a coworker, a vendor, give them a recommendation on LinkedIn. If you're on their profile, you know they have skills, give them endorsements for their skills. Help them out a little bit. And again, I think what goes around comes around. The world's a much better place if we can all help each other out a little bit, right? All right, so using LinkedIn to network your way to your next job, and we're at time. I'm going to go about 5 more minutes. Is that okay? I think your next session is at 5:15, so I want to be respectful of your time. So using LinkedIn to network your way to a new job, and as I said in the beginning, LinkedIn is a professional networking site. It's not a job search site. A lot of people are using LinkedIn for job search, but it's not the primary purpose. Having said that, there's some really great ways that you can use LinkedIn to help you find a job. And I'll be walking through each of these areas now. So if you haven't already checked this area out on LinkedIn, when you have a LinkedIn account, you can notice on the top there's a tab that's called Jobs. And I would highly encourage you kind of check out that area, and you can certainly put in keywords, locations, you can kind of see what's coming up on LinkedIn. I think the really cool thing about jobs on LinkedIn that's different than any of the other job boards, whether it's Indeed or Monster or anything else that's out there, is when you look at positions at LinkedIn, it's going to tell you how many connections you have to people that work at that company. So if I wanted to apply for this account executive at Amazon, I can see I have 8 connections that either currently work at Amazon or previously worked at Amazon. They might be able to help pull my resume through. Okay? So I might look at those connections and I might reach out and say, hey Sally, I see that you work at Amazon, I'm looking at a position, can you tell me anything about the company, and use my connection to help me find that job. All right, when you click on jobs, you're going to see an area underneath here that's called career interests. And if you have not checked this out, I would highly recommend clicking on career interests, and it's going to take you to a menu. And under this career interest, the very first thing you're going to see at the top is let recruiters know you're open. And if you toggle this to on, what happens is that anybody who is using the recruiter version of LinkedIn, so this is a paid version that only recruiters will use, and I think it's like $80 or $150 or something like that a month. So it's pretty expensive. Not everybody can see this. But when you have that toggle to open, yours is going to be one of the first profiles they see because you go into a bucket that says you're open to new opportunities, right? And that category includes people who are not actively looking for jobs, but might be open to having conversations, right? So recruiters are going to see your profile. What they say here is they'll take steps not to show your current company that you're open, but they can't guarantee complete privacy. And what they mean by that is if I work for Oakland Community College and I'm a recruiter and I have the recruiter version of LinkedIn, I can't see my fellow employees on LinkedIn that are open to new opportunities. But let's say Oakland Community College outsources recruiting to Kelly Services. Now Kelly Services can see anybody who works at Oakland Community College. And then the other thing is recruiters talk to each other. So they could say, hey, can you look up and see if there's anybody at Oakland Community College who's open to new opportunities? So that's what they mean by that. You can fill in a note, and you can also say, not currently pursuing new positions, but I'm always open to conversation, so you look a little bit less of an aggressive job seeker, more of a passive type of a thing. But do take the time, fill this area out, let people know what you're looking for. If you're transitioning from one industry to another, this is the place to explain it as it relates to your profile and that information that's in here. Another technique I would highly recommend you do, and how many people are Oakland Community College students right now here in the room? A lot of you? Or alumni? Any alumni here in the room? Very good. Welcome back. Very good. So I'm going to show you this technique of how to search for people in a job title on LinkedIn. So let's say I want to become a technician, and I just do a quick search for technician, and I'm looking at people that have technician in their job search, rather in their job title on LinkedIn. So I did a search on LinkedIn, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on all filters here at the top. When I click on all filters, now what I can start to do is click on second or third. That means people I'm not yet connected to. First level is people you're directly connected to. Second, they're connected to your first or second level, third, etc. So I'm looking for people I'm not yet connected to, second or third. And then when I scroll down, I see another section where I can put in school. So now I'm going to put Oakland Community College in here. And then I'm going to click on apply, and that applies those two filters in here. And now LinkedIn is going to show me search results for anybody that has the word technician in their job title, that is a second or third level connection. I'm not yet connected to them, and that attend Oakland Community College here. So let's say I find Anthony. Anthony's a robotics technician, and that's what I want to do after I graduate here. I might visit Anthony's profile, and just like I taught you guys earlier, look at his profile, find some things that we have in common. I'm not going to say right off the bat because I want to get that invitation accepted, right? So I might visit Anthony's profile, and I might say, hi Anthony, we haven't met, but we're both in Metro Detroit, and I see we both attended Oakland Community College. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Okay? Then Anthony accepts my invitation. Then I follow up with, hi Anthony, thanks for accepting my invitation. I see you're a robotics technician at CE Automotive. I am considering that as a career path while I'm studying here at Oakland Community College. Would you be open to a phone interview sometime, or I could just pick your brain for 5 to 10 minutes? An informational interview, I should say, an informational interview. So you're reaching out to them for the purpose of gathering information about their job, the industry, the process of applying at the company. You're not asking for a job. You're not asking if you can send them the resume. You're just reaching out to Anthony saying, hi Anthony, how did you get started? You know, what was the career path like? What skills do I need? What qualifications do I need to have? If I were to apply to a job at your company, how do I apply? You know, is there a website I go through? Can you walk my resume over? What's that process look like? So an informational interview is you're just gathering information about a job. It can be really beneficial if you're a college student, especially when you reach out to fellow alumni of your alma mater, because they want to help you. They want to help kind of pay it forward and maybe more willing to help you, lead you through that process. Do you have a question?
What tab is this under?
Pardon me?
Is it still under the jobs tab?
So what I did is I'm actually just searching using the search bar here at the top. Yeah, you type in job title, and then you click on people, and then you apply those searches in there. Okay? You're welcome. All right. So some homework. I'm not going to read through everything here. We're going to kind of end this session here, but feel free if you'd like to take a picture of this. These are some things that will help to make this session usable, manageable, and really to jumpstart. I mean, you guys came in the room here today because you wanted to use LinkedIn to help support you throughout your career. And you're not going to get any value out of it unless you're actually doing some of the work that goes into it. So this is just a homework, recommended things that you should do on LinkedIn. And as an incentive, I'm going to offer this out to you guys. If you do everything that's on the homework list here, and then you message me on LinkedIn, I'll give you a complimentary once-over on your profile, okay? An additional incentive, what I'll do is the first person who responds back to me on LinkedIn with all of their homework done, and I'm gonna check and make sure you've done it, I will give you a complimentary 1-hour phone consultation with me, okay? So I'll spend some time, we'll actually kind of talk about LinkedIn techniques, you can ask questions, free of charge, okay? That's only the first person, so if you're a superstar, get your homework done. You can be that one person. Everybody else, I'll give a once-over, and I'll give you some messaging tips on LinkedIn. Okay?
Thank you so much.
And that's what I have for you guys today. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, just send me a message and let me know if you'd like a copy of the slides. I'll also send you a link to the playback of today's session. If you joined us here late, I'm doing a Facebook Live video of my presentation here today. So I'm going to have this on the Meller Marketing Facebook page. I've got a business card up there if you want to get the name of that. And it'll be available on my page as soon as we're done. I'm going to post it live. I'm going to also pull it down and put it up on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to watch the playback, along with having a copy of the slides, it'll be available to do that. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to stop the video. I'll be around for questions if you have any, okay? Thank you. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.